where Jorge Martin really did click into top gear. And for Bagnaia to bounce back from what happened to him in Barcelona and retain the title showed what a top world champion he is.
And I think the experience from having already won the World Championship in dramatic fashion from 91 points behind in 2022 certainly helped Pecco Bagnaia. It was so impressive how calm he stayed when the championship got tense last year. We'll have a keen eye on the KTMs here this morning. KTM usually busier than most in pre-season testing. To get an idea of what we can expect from them today, let's head to Jack Appleyard in pit lane news with Francesco Guidotti.
Yeah, down here with Francesco. Firstly, to talk about what we saw on Sunday, then let's touch on the test. It was a massive opportunity on Sunday. How do you reflect on it now?
Yeah, it's still a hard thing. It's still something that we are here to start to understand if the direction is the right one.
No Grand Prix victory in 2023, but is this bike ready to win now?
I mean, as I said,
Is Pedro Acosta, I saw you chatting with him yesterday. What were your words of advice?
he can't wait. He can't wait as every rookie every year in this moment. He can't wait, but also we can't wait to see him on our bike. So it's always the start of a new adventure, and for him it's oh yeah, but he has to enjoy today. Only one day, you cannot really plan any special kind of work. He just
Their closest allies, Prima Pramac Racing, which will feature this man Frankie Morbidelli alongside one of the stars of 2023, Jorge Martin. They'll also be on GP24s, which means Gresini, Ducati, the Marquez siblings, they'll be on GP23s. And the new Pertamina VR46 squad involving Fabio Di Gianantonio and Marco Bezzecchi. What a year Bez had. Third overall in the World Championship. They will also be on to GP23s. Joan Mir getting back out onto the circuit. That's good to see. Of course, he missed pretty much the whole of the final round after that FP1 crash on Friday morning at turn 8, left with a pretty sore neck. So as we're looking at Morbidelli tip into turn 6, these early exploratory laps on the Ducati, probably already got a massive smile on his face after a couple of difficult years, it's fair to say, inside the factory Yamaha team. Before the track does get busier and busier with a bit of more ambient temperature coming into the air, Lewis. Yeah, a significant announcement by MotoGP yesterday. The revision, the upgrades to the concession system, clearly devised to help Honda and Yamaha find their way back to a more competitive level in MotoGP. Unanimously agreed by all manufacturers in the Motorcycle Sports Manufacturers Association. And Lewis, where are we at then in terms of these new concessions?
Well, there are 4 different ranks of concession that apply to next season, depending on how many points you've achieved. So we'll run you through them as we go through. We'll start with rank A, which is if you've scored 85% or more of the potential points available. This is where Ducati fall. So same restrictions in terms of testing with 3 wild cards. They get 7 or 8 engines to use through the season, as you do in rank A. 7, you can go testing with not just your test rider, but with your regular race riders too. So Luca Marini, Joan Mir, as well as Fabio Quartararo and Alex Rins will be able to go testing next year at any GP circuit on the calendar, not just the 3 nominated, any GP circuit. They can have 9 engines for the season and introduce it
to get concessions, but now Honda and Yamaha have got to make sure that they fully utilise the concession that they are being given. I was going to say a new chapter starts for Johann Zarco, of course. He has previously raced for LCR Honda, replacing Taka Nakagami for 2 or 3 Grand Prix in the back of the 29 season. But Johann Zarco, like a Luca Marini, out of Ducati and onto the... He's really been so keen, so anxious to help Honda and Yamaha. Well, Yamaha were the 4th constructor this season. Honda were the worst. They finished 515 points in the Constructor Championship behind Ducati, who finished on 700 points. There were only 7 Grand Prix this year in the Constructor Championship where Honda scored points in double figures. 2023 has been one to forget, but at least they're going to get a helping hand. We've got to say as well, credit to Ducati to KTM and to Aprilia for unanimously endorsing the concessions to help out the Japanese factories. We'll go down to Simon Crafar very shortly because Alex Rins is about to jump on the factory Yamaha Weiss there on M1 for the first time. Fresh off the back of what he said yesterday or on Sunday, the toughest season of his Grand Prix career. Speaking of Sundays, of course, they were so near yet so far, weren't they? Playing a big part in helping Ducati win that fourth consecutive constructor prize was Prima Pramac Ducati. What a year it was. A first year at the helm for their team manager Gino Borsa. I'm delighted to say he's down in pit lane now, joining Simon Crafar.
He is. Gino, thank you for the time you've given us to speak right now. Gino, first of all, we've got to start with the season and Sunday. Can you give us your thoughts on Sunday's GP?
Well, Sunday GP finish in a way that we don't like so much, honestly, because was nice to see Jorge again fighting till the last corner with Ipeco and maybe get a podium. The final result doesn't change, but on the podium or even finish the race with a nice fighting with Ipeco was the nice end of the story of the season. But anyway, as I said to my guys, we must be happy. We must be really happy with what we achieved this season. We got an incredible result. We are world champion as a team. So what I can say more? We must to start with is the same mentality. We are strong. We are an incredible family team. So now we have another good news in our garage this season, and for the next one. So we start already 24 with the Frankie in our garage, and we have another challenge in front of us. So we are let's say ready for bring Frankie in a good position and maybe in the podium more than one time. I hope so.
Me too. I definitely think that. Speaking about 24, you know, which starts today, looks to me, I'd like your confirmation, it looks to me that you've got one 23 bike and one looks new to me for each rider, and I imagine getting out on the 23 up to speed and then see what the difference is. But can you tell us what the plan is for today technically?
Well, the plan of today, for Martini, he have the 24 bike on one side, and the 23. We have to understand the difference between the bike and the right rider is Jorge, because he know the bike, of course. And for Frankie, he will start with the 23 bike because he have to learn, he have to understand, and he have to start to feel the new bike, and then maybe at the end of the day he will just.
You were right, and you did. Huge congratulations.
Thank you so much, and honestly I'm happy because Jorge is still with us for next season, and then what we learned this season with Jorge and with the team, it's really important to become even more strong than this season. So I think the next one, the red jacket, will have a big problem with us because we are much more stronger than this season.
Thanks for your time. Good luck today.
2023. Well, they gave Pecco a good run for his money this season, didn't they? I think Pecco Bagnaia acknowledging that Marc Marquez, the 8-time world champion, lead pit lane on her motorcycle. Emotional time, of course. An all Marquez lineup next season as Alex Rins gets down to 133.779. Rins has done 3 early laps on the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP machine. It's hanging outside of this garage. I wonder.
Ever seen a huddle like that during a pre-season test?
3 or 4 deep. I guess Valentino light ride now, an independent team rider, which has never happened to Mark in MotoGP. Of course, Ducati will listen to your feedback. They tell you, come our team. This is
going into Grazzini.
Into the Grazzini Ducati hospitality. Is this for a little helmet swap, maybe? Is it? He's got a helmet back there on his left-hand side. Of course, so many riders do. Another apology. I think it is. Is this going to be? Yeah. This is going to be a nice gesture, isn't it? Of course, they collided late on. This is beautiful to see. That's so many riders do this at the end of the season. There'll be special messages written on the visors here. These two this season have at times had frank exchanges of opinion, but it's all fair in love and war. This is lovely. This was earlier on this morning inside that Gresini Ducati Hospitality. What a souvenir that is for Jorge Martin. That's beautiful. Love that. Of course, they have their tough battles out on circuit, but there's always great respect between the two of them. But it was a tangle on Sunday which ultimately did decide the outcome. Made his MotoGP debut. There's going to be a massive smile under that helmet. His eyes will be popping out of his head in a minute when he comes out of that final corner and starts to find out what it's like to have 300 horsepower in your right hand.
Well, he's a quick learner, as we've seen over the years, Pedro Acosta. When he moved up from Moto3 to Moto2, he was quickest in pre-season testing, to the point that in his rookie Moto2 campaign, many had him down as the World Championship favourite. GP circuits across the world for a decade to come.
Now, as he goes through the gearbox, up to 6th gear on that gas machine, this is where the eyes are properly on stalks. Now he grabs a handful on the carbon brakes for the first time, approaching nearly 300 kilometres an hour. He's been that fast on the Triumph Moto2 bike over the last couple of years, but you do wonder what's the expression on his face right now as he tentatively tips into turn 2. I loved Aki Ayo's farewell quote here on Sunday night in Valencia. Aki Ayo saying that we started off with a wild boy in 2021. He was a rough diamond who they've carved into a gem. He leaves as a mature young man. Certainly has got a lot of maturity. There's a wise old head on young shoulders for this man on your screens right now. Acosta said he's grown up with Aki Ayo, grown up with Iron Motorsport. They've done so much for him. He said they've taught me to be tough and as cold as ice. But we're all not as obviously as tough as we thought we were, because everybody was in floods of tears in the garage on Sunday night. So Pedro Acosta starts his journey, his MotoGP journey. This is always a special moment of any Grand Prix career, rider's Grand Prix career, isn't it? A moment that you dream of when you first fall in love with motorcycle racing, when you first dream of being in this position on the same grid as your heroes, your idols, your role models. This is the elite of the elite now. He properly is mixing it and toughing it out with the big boys.
Many of you will, of course, be familiar with Pedro Acosta on the bike, but let me tell you, he is a character that you're going to enjoy listening to in MotoGP off the bike. He's always carried a bit of a swagger with him, hasn't he? He has always had an air of confidence right from his first Moto3